Hey YouTube, we're going to be remodeling a bathroom. This is it. It's a basement bathroom. It's got a 48-inch vanity toilet. It's got a fiberglass tub shower combination here. And we're going to be taking this out and putting a shower in, tiled walls, and tiled ceiling as well, because we're going to be turning this into a steam shower. So part of my calculations is I'm going to move this back wall 3 inches to get the drain centered so I can have a 34-inch wide shower and still have my 15 inches of separation from the center of the toilet drain to the shower wall. And we're going to be putting in a heated floor. So let's go take a look at some of the products we have. All right, here's some of the products for the shower. Instead of doing the traditional mud pre-slope, rubber membrane, mud on top of that, I'm going to be using this Schluter Drain Pan. It was about 120 bucks. I think it's worth it just for the time savings. And it comes with this Kerdi membrane on top of it, and it's pre-made for a Kerdi drain. So I got the Kerdi drain, and I've got the Kerdi corners, the Kerdi band that goes along the seams. But for a steam shower, a commercial steam shower, they recommend the Kerdi DS, which is a 20 mil thick Kerdi. It's 2.5 times thicker than the standard Kerdi. And for commercial steam showers, this is required. For a residential steam shower that's only used once a day, it's not. But I'm going to play it safe and use this Kerdi DS. I bought a roll of this, which is enough to do 2 showers my size. But anyway, it was about $500. And hey, for a shower, it's worth that one-time investment. So I think this is going to be a big time saver. And as I mentioned, we're going to be putting in a steam shower. So I bought this sauna core from Canada, and it's made of surgical stainless steel. It was highly rated, so it should do the job. It's a 6 kilowatt, which is adequate for my size steam shower. Got a steam outlet, you got a pressure relief valve, and a water inlet, and a drain valve. It self-cleans. And the kit came with the nozzle that goes in the shower, all the wiring, the control panel that goes in the shower, and a mood light that goes up on the ceiling. I want to see what that looks like before I install it. And then also, we're going to do heated floors. So I got the heated floor kit, enough for 20 square feet. It's about a 75-foot roll. And we're going to lay down Kerdi Ditra on the floor first, and then we'll wire it up, and then we'll put self-leveling concrete on top of that. So with that, the next step is the demo, and I'll get started on that next. All right, got all the junk moved out. I guess the first thing I'll do is take this mirror off. That's the simplest thing. There's just 2 little screws, clips holding this mirror in. And once those 2 clips are out, this mirror just lifts right up out of this slot and just comes right out. Then I'll shut the water off under the sink, the 2 valves down here. Unhook the trap, unhook the 2 water lines, and I should be able to take a knife, cut the seam along here, and there's probably a couple of screws in the back holding this cabinet in. I will find them and get this cabinet out of here, and then turn the toilet off here, unhook the hose, remove these 2 nuts, cut along the seam here, and the toilet will lift right out. Yeah, the mirror came out, no problem at all. Now I'll take this little mirror strip off, and it's just these little tack nails. Probably get them out with my fingers. Let's see, here's one. Let's zoom in. See, just these little tack nails are holding this strip up. Then this strip will come off. Then I can cut this caulk along the seam. Get the top off. Well, got to get the faucet off first. Actually, I don't have to take this off. I can just unhook the P-trap, unhook the supply lines, and just leave it attached and take the top off as a piece with the faucet attached. All right, the cabinet came out like clockwork. Unhook the trap, the water lines. There were 2 screws holding it in, one there, one right there. Broke the caulk all the way around, and it just slid right out. So I get this puppy out of here, then pull the toilet. All right, well, we got the sink out. The toilet was just a couple of bolts and the riser tube. And then I took all the tile out around the edge of the tub, and the tub was screwed in periodically, so I unscrewed those. Then I took a vibrating saw and I cut the tub in half. Now I'm going to pull it out. All right, now that the tub's out, I got to get this concrete up from that was supporting the underneath of the tub, and this drain is a tub drain, and the actual shower drain to be centered is going to be right about here. So I've got my air chisel and I'm chiseling the concrete up here. Luckily it's a 2-inch pipe because I wanted a 2-inch drain for the shower, not 1.5, and transitions to 1.5 for the tub, but it's 2-inch underneath. That's fantastic. So I need to go down deep enough to put in another T-joint to come over, and then a 90 up to the shower drain that I'm going to put here. So I'll just be chiseling away for the next hour or so to expose enough of this pipe to put a new T-joint on. All right, let's get some of this old tile up. The new drain pipe needs to come up here. So I was just going to cut that off at the top of the old trap and put something like this in there. But it's not going to work because I need 9 inches. Where this joint right here would go, the bottom joint needs to be 9 inches down. And I don't have 9 inches, I only have 6 inches. So I'm gonna have to cut out the old trap down there and put a new trap in, which I have. Which means I need to cut this concrete about like this to get to the old trap and the pipe to hook up the new one. And then of course I'll have to cut this out here to accommodate the new pipe coming up out of the ground. Okay, this is worth noting. The new P-trap has to go here. And the pipe it hooks up to is a couple inches below that, and I hit the sump pump drain line here. So I've been digging for the last hour, and I think if I dig enough around this, it's pretty flexible. I can move it a couple inches out of the way, but it's a good couple hours of digging in this little hole that I made. So anyway, nothing ever goes as planned, but at least there's a solution. All right, we got the plumbing done. The tailpipe is nice and level. We checked it with a level. And we got this septic line out of the way. It's a big job, a lot of digging in the little hole. And we got the pipe cut. For me, it was about 2 1/4, 2 3/8 below the surface, but the Schluter drain, when you're using the Schluter pan, they supply these little spacers. So that was a sanity check. And this is level 2. So we're good to go. I will put a little, fill this back up with gravel to the bottom of the concrete, and then I will put a collar here, like a collar large enough to accommodate the bottom of this drain, and then before I pour the concrete, to give the drain room to fit in there. So fill this up with gravel, put a sheet of plastic over it, put the collar, and then pour the concrete to fill this hole back in. Oh, and I did water test it. I poured water in here and there are no leaks. All right, now that the concrete's poured, the plans call for moving this wall 4 or 5 inches that way. So I'll cut that old wall out and put a new one in. All right, I kicked out the drywall on this wall, and there's just a little closet on the other side. And I also took off the door and the door frame, because that's got to move 5 inches that way along with the wall, because the molding was right here. So it's got to move 5 inches this way. So I will take this 2x4 frame down and rebuild it 5 inches this way. All right, I know I want this wall to be 17 inches from the center of this drain, and the wall board is going to be a 1/2 inch. So that's what I'm going by. And so I calculated this wall needs to move 4 3/4 inches over. So instead of just measuring 4 3/4 inches over from a wall that isn't exactly straight, I got the laser out, and I also, as a double check, measured from both sides of the wall on the left to my laser line. And I'm happy with the results. And I moved the laser off. You can see I penciled in a line where the right edge of the 2x4 has to go. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this drywall right here, and then the new wall this edge of this 2x4 will be right here, and the new 2x4 will be here. That'll give me the exact distance I need from the drain. All right, I'm going to take these studs down now. Believe it or not, I'm going to save them. Looks like the guy only put 1 nail in each end anyway. These things are $7 or $8 a piece, so in about 10 minutes I can save, $30. I'm going to use the metal blade and the Sawzall just to slice through those nails. I've got the studs salvaged. Wish I could make that much every 10 minutes that I worked. And I'm going to take one of those studs and put it behind here. So this corner joint where this wall comes will have a stud to support the drywall on both sides. All right, this is the door to the closet that's behind the bathroom. And this is the wall we moved 5 inches this way. So that means this door has to move 5 inches this way. Well, this was a 30-inch door to a little closet. So I made the command decision to put a 24-inch door in. That way, I don't need to move this wall 5 inches that way or mess with the ceiling. All I need to do is put a couple of studs here at 26 and a half inches to accommodate the door frame, and I'm done. So I'm going to go ahead and cut those studs. Put 2 studs in there to support the door, because this is the hinge side. We actually have the door swinging into the closet, and that job will be done. Framing done on the closet door and the wall between the closet and the shower. Now for some drywall. We'll put drywall up on this wall and the outside of this door frame where I moved it 5 inches. And then we can hang the door after the drywall's up. All right, that wall is exactly 96 inches tall, 61 7/8 wide. So I pre-cut a couple of sheets, 4x8, along, cut them 61 7/8 long in the parking lot so they'd fit in the car, the SUV. And I will screw those 2 sheets up and put a little mud and tape on it. All right, we got the drywall up. Screws every 12 to 16 inches. I probably went more on the 16-inch side. All right, now we got to tape the joints. And what I like to do is put a 1/16 to an 1/8 inch of mud and then use the paper tape. And I like to dampen the tape first a little bit. It just seems to stick better. Okay, we got the wall spackled. A couple of coats taped, spackled, sanded, ready for a primer. And a little tip for you home gamers out there. I've got this sander that hooks up to my shop vac, and it uses a screen mesh. And you turn the vacuum on, and then you sand with this guy. And I'm telling you, it gets rid of 99% of the dust. You know, I'm in the exercise room here, and there's hardly any dust on anything. So, little tip, I got this on Amazon, and it's worth every penny. In terms of keeping things clean. All right, I'll put a coat of primer on this next, and then I can start putting the laminate floor down and putting the baseboard back in this room. Well, I was out of paint tray, so I'm not going to prime this. I'll just jump right to the door installation. And I got this split jam door, 24-inch, Home Depot. I don't know, it was a little over $100. And first thing I'll do is I'll split these 2 jambs, take this apart, split the 2 jambs, and get this thing installed. Looks like there's 4 staples, 2 on each side, maybe, yeah, 2 on each side, holding those 2 shells together. I'll remove those staples. All right, with those 4 staples removed, this slid right out, the outer shell. And let's see, I guess I have to take off these things that were spacing the shell out. So there's 2 on each side, then I'll be able to slip this door into place. Vacuum the floor and put down a couple pieces of this plank flooring for spacing. Hopefully that'll eliminate me having to trim that later. Test fit revealed it wouldn't fit with the plank flooring, but without the plank flooring it will fit. So I'll put the door in and then trim down later. So right now I'm going to take off the little piece that's holding the door in because it's going to be in the way, and get this guy in place. All right, I've got shims underneath the door holding it up as high as I can while keeping it level. I'm going to go on the outside and see what it looks like. All right, I'm going to put one screw right here, and then I'll be able to square the rest of it up. And I'm using these trim head screws. They're real small in the end and easy to finish. Got the hinge side of the door level. And what I did was I took out the middle screw on each hinge, put the proper wedge in, and then put a 2.5 inch screw all the way through the stud on all 3 hinges. That way the hinges are secure and the door frame is secure. Now I'll go ahead and level off this to get this gap more even, and screw this in with the wedges. We should be good. All right, pretty happy with that. I've got both sides anchored down. Got a nice gap. We're level. And we're off the ground a little bit. It looks like it will have to be trimmed to fit that plank. No big deal. Use the oscillate and saw. So now we just put the clamshell up. I'll trim these wedges with the oscillate and saw. Put the clamshell in, and then just a couple of screws to tack that guy in. All right, let's put this clam in. All right, I put 6 screws in, holding this clamshell. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the door looks good. Nice gaps. Nice gaps on the inside. Very happy. All right, I will fill these in with wood putty and get this thing ready for paint. All right, got the inside of the closet primed today, and it looks good. And trimmed a 1/2 inch off the bottom of the door to accommodate the plank flooring. Next step, we'll install the plank flooring in here. So I'm waiting for the permits to come in for the bathroom. All right, doing a little planning in the shower. This Schluter pan was 38 by 60. My shower's 34. So I trimmed 2 inches off of each side with a box cutter knife. It just easily cut it. I used the level as a straight edge. Cut 2 inches off each side. You want to cut it off evenly on each side because it is a tapered pan. So now I am planning on the curb. I'm going to use two 2x4s, which are 3.5 inches tall this way, and then there'll be a 1/2 inch sill on top of that, and that will give me 2.5 inches above the height of the drain. 2 inches is code, so 2.5 inches should be safe. And what I will do is cut, I've got a couple of pressure treated 2x4s that I've had for over a year, so I know they're dried out. And I will screw them together this way, and I will anchor them into the concrete this way. And I will cover them with 1/4 inch hardy board, and then the Schluter Kerdi membrane over top of that. Should be fine. The reason I'm not going with a standard 5-inch wide, I'm going with a 4-inch wide curb, is because code says you need 15 inches between the center of the toilet flange to the obstruction, and I have 16 inches if I use a 4-inch. So again, I want to be well within code. I don't want to spend a lot of time on this floor, but this is unbelievable. These 4-foot lengths, the only thing I did was trim off the tongue on the right-hand side. And these boards fit in there, and I didn't even have to rip them to get them to go the other direction. I mean, 6 inches times 10 is 60 inches plus, you know, 1/8 of an inch joint. It just worked out perfectly. Unbelievable. Yeah, there's no joints, but it's a closet, so I think it's actually pretty good. I'll put the baseboard up and it'll look great. Made the shower curb out of these two 2x4s. Don't have it attached yet, but I ripped one of the two. We got the 3.5 inches high, and I ripped one of them down so the total width is 2.5 inches. It's not attached yet. I will drive a couple of screws in here and then down into the concrete to hold it. So it's 2.5 inches wide. It's going to get a 1/4 inch party board on each side and the top. So that's bring it to 3 inches, and then 1 inch of tile, a 1/2 inch on each side, 1/4 inch tile and 3/16 mortar. That'll bring this to just under 4 inches. Then I'll put a 4-inch sill on top of it. All right, I've got the plumbing roughed in the shower. The toilet goes here, so the shower door goes here. Now I'm going to put the shower head up there. This is the old plumbing right here. And so when you walk in the door here, I'm going to put the controls here on the left. So we've got the on-off temperature control, and then we have the output selector. So we've got the hot water coming in, we've got the cold water coming in, and then this is normally the output for the tub and the output for the shower. Since we don't have a tub, they tell you to use the tub outlet for the shower. More gallons per minute go through the tub. So it comes over, up, and to the switch. And then there's 3 outputs for the switch. This one is the handheld. So there's a hose that comes down around to a bar over here, and you have your handheld. This is going to be the main shower head, and this is going to be a range shower head, which is going to be centered in the ceiling right up there. So I've got all these roughed in, nothing soldered yet, so it's time to solder up all those joints. I removed the valve body from the main valve, and I'm going to solder up those 4 joints first. and then I'll screw it back in and solder up all the connections. Yesterday I poured self-leveling concrete on the floor to get rid of the divots from pulling up the old tile. Today I'm going to screw this curb into the floor. The width is 34 inches, so I'm going to make it 34 1/4 because I'm going to put a 1/4 inch of hardy board on the inside of this. And I'm going to use these Tapcon concrete anchors. I will drill and countersink into the 2x4 and secure it. I'll put a couple wood screws on each end, and then I'll put the concrete anchors in here. Then I'll wrap it with the 1/4 inch hardy board. The 1/4 Tapcons require a 3/16 bit in the concrete, so I have a masonry bit, and I'm going to countersink them a 1/2 inch down because these things are the same length as the 2x4, so give them something to bite into. So I'll countersink this, but I'll drill about 3/4 inches into the concrete with the masonry bit. While I'm waiting for the drawings to come in from the architect to pull the permit, I'm cutting the hardy board, and I'm just putting a couple screws in because when it gets inspected it's going to have to come down, but at least it'll be all cut in place and ready to go. Just a couple more boards to cut. Score it about 50 times with a utility knife and then snap it. When you walk into the bathroom, the 48-inch vanity is going to be here on the right. Here's the sink hookup. In the vanity, I'm going to put the steam generator. So I need to run electrical here, 30 amp, 220 volt. And then all the plumbing comes out here. This is the 3/4 output for the steam itself. And I put in a 3/4 inch drop ear. I'll put a 4-inch nipple right here. And that 3/4 inch pipe, I'm not finished yet, but it's going to run all the way to the bottom of the shower. And it's going to terminate with a 3/4 inch drop ear nipple right here. So I can hook up the steam head right here, about 11 or 12 inches up from the ground. Now to run electric to this guy, I'm going to run it up through the wall here. I took out the medicine cabinet, and I'll be able to run it right here. And then I had a couple of drop lights. And believe it or not, I was able to fish from the top of the bathroom up here to the first light, and then from the first light to the second light, from the second light to the workroom, and then it'll be a straight shot right to the fuse box in the back. The steam shower has a 30 amp GFI circuit breaker. But I am going to put a heated floor in here too. It's going to have a dedicated 20 amp circuit. So what I'm going to do while I'm running this 30 amp 220 wire, I'm going to run a 12 gauge wire, and I'm going to run this to the dedicated GFI here, and then this GFI will feed the heated floor coil. All right, I got the wire run through 6 rafters, and I think I've got it pulled through long enough to get into the room. So now I'll pull it through the remaining rafters and then through the maze of these lights and then down the wall. All right, got the electrical line run, plenty of length in case for some reason I don't end up mounting the steam generator on the right side, the left side of the cabinet. I've got the flexibility. I need to get a 20 amp GFI, wire it up to the line, and then the load gets mounted to this thermostat for the heated floor, which I will probably install right here next to the doorway entrance. All right, I just cut a hole for a new box to put the heated floor in. The GFI was here and it was being fed right here. So I'm going to pull that wire out. This is going to be the new feed, dedicated circuit from the box. And then I'll put that 20 amp GFI here and then feed the heated floor from that. And then the wire, the 30 amp 240 volt wire for the steam generator will come down the wall and out, and it'll be wired directly into the steam generator. Put a few braces in the wall for future grab bars and or foldable shower seats. Got the steam head installed, and we got the right amount of clearance for a 1/2 inch hardy board and a 1/2 inch of tile and mortar. That pipe can screw in and out a little bit, so it should be just about right. Got a few little projects done. The shower door is going to be right here. So you walk in and the controls are here on the left. So I'm going to put the steam shower control right here, about 4.5 feet up off the ground. They say 4 to 5 feet. So I ran the wire, and the tiles I'm using are 4-inch tiles. So I tried to calculate so this is in the center of a 4-inch tile. If it's not, I'll adjust this hole in the hardy board, because I definitely want this in the center of a 4-inch tile, because this thing actually glues on. So I ran the wire through the wall, and it'll come out under the sink. And I also installed a drain line. These shower steam generators have an auto drain, and so this is the 3/4 inch steam outlet that goes over to the shower, and this is a 1/2 inch drain. You know, the stub will stop about here, and it'll hook up to the steam generator that gets mounted over here. So I've got the standard 1/4 inch slope per foot, and it comes to the shower. Here's going to be the drain. So this is going to be where the, I've got a head similar to this for the drain right here, and it'll drain straight down. And this is the steam, and the steam comes out in a downward way also. So my next step is to put in the Ditra Heat floor. And to do that, the first thing I have to do is remove this old toilet flange. So I'm going to cut it off straight and then put a notch in here and see if I can use a heat gun and break that loose. And the control for the heated floor will go here. And I'll run the wires and the heat sensor down here into the Ditra floor, and then install the heating element every 3 inches. So let me go ahead and remove this toilet flange and get ready to put in the Ditra. All right, I cut the top of the flange off with the Sawzall, and I still got to take this ring off. So I hand cut just through the flange, not the pipe. You can see I just cut right up, and then I'm going to heat this ring up with the heat gun. It's actually a 1,000-watt hair dryer, and take a hammer and chisel and see if I can break that loose. The heat helps a lot. What I had to do was cut another notch, and I'll probably have to just keep notching it. Heat that section. It pretty much just peels right off once you heat it. And being very careful not to cut into the inner pipe. All right, success. I got this off. You can see it's still hot and it's still like rubbery. And I, cut through, but not all the way through, so I didn't damage the inner pipe. And we got it out, and now the new one will be able to go on. I guess I've got to get a male instead of a female, and don't know. Or an extender coupler. Anyway, we got the old one off. And because I'm going to be raising this floor about an inch. All right, I just ordered a new flange that will fit on the inside of the 4-inch pipe. And it doesn't go on until the tile's on anyway because it lays level on top of the tile. So the next step is to put on the Ditra Heat Map. This is made by Schluter, and it's got an insulator on the bottom. It's supposed to keep 80% of the heat on the heated floor from going down. It's just to go up and heat the tiles. And the heating wire snaps right in between these grooves. And again, it wraps around every 3 inches. So what I'm going to do is I've got a number of sheets of this. I'm going to go ahead and cut it to size to cover the entire floor. And then it gets adhered to the floor with thin set, Schluter all set. Even though I have the low voltage cable to the steam generator control already run, I took down the hardy boards and I ran a 1-inch conduit from where the control goes all the way down to under the vanity where the steam generator goes. That way, if anything ever happens to the cable, I can always pull a new one. All right, before I put the drywall back, I'm going to insulate the steam pipe with this fiberglass pipe insulation. All right, got the steam pipe insulated. We can go ahead and put that piece of drywall back and put all the hardy board back here. I had the plumbing inspection today and it passed. So the only thing left on the plumbing inspection is the pan leak test, which I'll do once I get the pan installed. All right, we got the drywall patch in and taped. 1 coat of compound. And got the vanity mirror framed out and new drywall because the old one was larger. And we got that 1 coat of tape on there. And got the hardy board up. I need to get a piece for the ceiling. And then we can put the Schluter Drain Pan in. Taking another look at this ceiling, I think what I'm going to do is cut this drywall out right here because there's a beam here and there's a beam here. But the glass is going to come and they're going to need something to attach it to. So I'm going to cut the drywall right here, put a 2x4 header all the way across, and then I'll either do drywall or the hardy board across the whole ceiling. To find the exact line to cut, I started with the center of the shower curb right here, drew a line, then I took the laser level and I got a straight line to the top and I marked that. Then I did the same thing on the other side and I marked the top, and then I threw a laser line from the center of this one to the center of that one. And I drew a pencil line along the red laser line, and that's the dead center of the curb down here. And that's where I'll center the 2x4 that I'm going up. So I'm going to cut the drywall along that line, and that'll be the center of the 3.5 inch side of the 2x4 that I'm going to put up there. 2x4 in place. We've got 2.5 inch screws holding it down on each side. It's centered over the curb. And then the old drywall is screwed into it, and the new drywall will be able to screw into it. But more importantly, it's going to be a support for the glass. It's strong. Next step is to put in the Schluter Kerdi shower pan. So I'll lather this guy up with Schluter all set with a 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch trowel, notch trowel, and I already dry fit it. And once it's in place, put some thin set here. Of course, it's underneath too. And then get some PVC glue, primer the drain, and set that in place. I've got my level ready to make sure it's good and level. It was when I dry fit it. So let me go mix up the all set Schluter thin set. Okay, I got the mortar bed in, and we got the tray back buttered. I'm going to slip it in there now. All right, before I glue the drain in, make sure this is seated. I'll come back when I'm gluing the drain in. The drain area has the mortar on it. I back buttered the drain. Now I will put the glue, the primer and the glue on both pipes and put this thing in there. I've got my level ready. Got to work fast. All right, we are glued up. We are level. We are level. I'll put some mortar right here, a thin coat, and put this Kerdi band on. Okay, I back buttered the seal here, and just put it in place. And now I will smooth it out, and then I'll get rid of all the excess mortar here. Okay, with the drain in the pan in, the pan was a 38 by 60 inch pan, and I was able to trim the 38 down to 34 with a knife, but the 60 leaves a 3-inch gap, and Schluter says fill that in with dry pack, which is 4 parts sand, 1 part Portland cement. So I'm going to go mix that up and pour that in. Mod pack finished. Next step is to put the Schluter Ditra Heat on the floor, and it goes on with the Schluter all set mortar. Heated floor is in. I had 80 feet. It's 3 inches on center and 6 to 8 inches away from the wax ring on the toilet. And the wires run up to a box where the control goes. And there's 2 wires running to the floor, one to the heating element and one to the thermostat. I buried it in a little mortar here, and it's supposed to be 6 inches from the wall, or 6 inches into the heating element or more, and in between the 2 3-inch. So I put it right here, and that's it. I Just have one more final sand on the drywall, and then I can put in the Kerdi membrane to waterproof the 4 walls of the shower, the 3 walls and the ceiling. The floor already has a Kerdi membrane since I used a Schluter shower pan. Last minute addition, I'm going to add this Schluter shower niche. And so I cut a hole out and framed it. Not too close to the shower head, but in a position where you can easily reach the soap and shampoo. So I'll go ahead and put that in and screw it in before I seal the shower up. All right, I dammed up the doorway and the toilet drain and poured some self-leveling concrete over the heating elements, about a 1/4 inch, and we'll let that dry. Self-leveling floor turned out great. Now that it's dry, the next step is to put on the Kerdi membrane, the waterproofing membrane. And I want to minimize the number of seams. So I'm going to take a 40-inch wide, it's actually 39.5-inch wide piece. It comes in a roll, and come down, bend it, come down. I'm going to go right over the niche, and then after it's in place, I'll cut the square out. Come down, fold it, come over, and if possible, fold it up, over, and down on the curb if it can do those tight bends. If not, I'll just cut it off. And then I'll do a 25-inch piece here, come down. I'll start at the ceiling, come down, 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 down. And then I will do a piece on this wall and a piece on this wall, and then put a corner piece in and a corner piece in here. So that's the plan. I'm going to cut the 2 pieces here, and it goes on with the Schluter all-set mortar with a 1/8 by 1/8 trowel. Here we go. I have all my Kerdi sheets cut out for all the walls and ceiling. I'm going to take a wet sponge and dampen this hardy board because it absorbs moisture, and I've got such a big area to work on. I don't want this thin set drying out. So let me go mix up some thin set. I'll mix it according to the instructions. It gets mixed a little wet when you put on the Kerdi membrane compared to how you mix it for tiles. All right, Kerdi's installed, and I passed my flood test yesterday. I put the plug in, I added 15 gallons of water, drew a little line to the water level, let it set for 24 hours, called the inspector in, and he passed it. He also wanted to see how it drained. Drained just fine. It didn't take long at all. So we're good to go. I will say though, you do make, when you put this Kerdi membrane up, you do mix that thin set wet. I mean, just so it holds the trowel edge, just so it doesn't run when it's on, but it's extremely wet. Otherwise, you know, it doesn't stick properly. But we're good to go. I've got the corners on wherever there's a seam, and I did the entire curb, so we're good to go there. And I've also started tiling the floor, so I'm going to finish that up this morning, and that way I can grout the tile, put the cabinet in, and measure for the cabinet top. And I'm also going to put a 4-inch sill all the way around the edge, including the ceiling, for the glass to mount on securely. So yeah, we'll go ahead and work on this floor today. It took the better part of 4 hours. This is like my 4th, 5th tiling job. And, you know, by the time you lay it out, cut all the little pieces, mortar it up, and put the wedges in, it takes what it takes. And I love, as a novice, using these wedges. Just basically you get them, I got them on Amazon, and you put these little, they come in different, this is a 1/16 spacer, so it automatically spaces your tile, and the tile sits on it, on the mortar bed, like so. And then after you set the tile down in place, put the little wedge in, and then there's this wedge tool, and you just grab it and you wedge it in, and that makes the tiles even this way, and you get a perfect space in between the 1/16 when you're doing it. And yeah, it certainly improves my tiling job level. So what's next? Next I'm gonna grout this so I can put the cabinet in. And then of course we've got to tile the floor in the shower, the walls, and the ceiling. All right, we're ready to grout the floor. I've got it all cleaned, ready to go. Going to use epoxy grout. It's really strong. It's a little harder to work with, but I've used it while I redid the kitchen tile, the 20-year-old kitchen tile. I took up all the old grout and epoxy grouted it, and it is just durable and cleans easy. We had a spot next to the washing machine that would crack all the time, and it's been 2 years now, and the epoxy grout is just holding up really well. So especially since this is going to be a steam shower, I want it to be good and tight. So I'm going to use epoxy grout once again. It's worth the extra price in my opinion. I thought I'd drill the holes for the toilet flange before I grout, just in case I crack a tile or something. So when I put it in, I marked it to this level. This level is 2 1/4 inches down. So I'm going to cut this 2 1/4 inches from here because I want this to be above the tile. And once I get it in place, I'll mark a few holes and drill for concrete anchors, and should be good to go. Grout complete. Secret with epoxy is within 15 minutes of putting it down to take a wet, rough sponge and wipe it down several times. Use lots of water, and then take a smooth sponge and just gently go over it. And you get really nice grout lines. Got the vanity installed. It was pretty simple. Just had to mark the cutouts for the existing pipes in the wall and the wiring, and located 2 studs, 2 screws. It's strong, it's level. And I wired up the 220 with one of these boxes that you typically see at an air conditioner outside. I don't know, it looked like it was code to do this, but it's definitely safe to do it. There's a pull-out, emergency pull-out here to break the circuit. And I got the wire off an old oven, 6 gauge. It only needs to be 10. So I'm safe there, and it's rated for the 90 degrees centigrade heat too. that they require for a steam generator. The steam generator will go here. And today I am going to start tiling the shower. I'm going to start at the top, do the ceiling, and I'm going to do the floor. Then I will do the back wall and then the side walls. That way the back wall tile will go here. And when I tile this, you won't see the edge going this way. And doing the floor first. So the floor goes in and then the back wall tile or the side wall tile sits on top of the floor tile for the water to run off. On this tile job, I'm going to have a 4.5-inch sill on the curb, and I'm going to follow it around the whole perimeter to hold the glass in place. So I marked with a pencil where the 4.5 sill goes. It's going to be centered on the curb, and I used a laser to get the line straight. So I'm going to start tiling along that line. You know, I'll leave a 1/16 for the grout, and then tile one row and then take it back to the wall. So I'm going to measure from here to here, and then I've got the tiles laid out here on the floor with the 1/16 spacers in there. And I'm going to pre-cut as many of these tiles as I can, because I'm not that fast, and as the mortar's setting up, I want to put as many tiles down as I can before it dries. So let me go ahead and pre-cut a half a dozen tiles. All right, go ahead. Okay, I originally was going to tile along the line this way, and the problem is when I get to the end, I have only a 1/2-inch cut. So that means I would have to cut one of these tiles in half, and I would have a seam right along the edge here, which would get covered by the sill, but still when you're in the shower, you would see this cut edge. So what we're gonna do instead is tile the ceiling this way. And that way, when we get to the end, we have a piece that's going to be only 4 inches, and this seam will get covered when I do the wall, so you won't see that seam. So we're going to tile vertically this way, and then we'll stagger the joints when we go down the wall this way. So we should be fine. All right, thanks to my laser level, and I built this wall myself. This is exactly 33 inches everywhere. It's perfectly square, amazing. So I am gonna cut 16 of these tiles. I'm gonna measure 33 inches minus an 1/8, a 16th for the grout line on each side. And I'm gonna pre-cut 16 of these, so when I go to glue them up, I'm ready to go. All right, the ceiling's done. Been working on the floor. I've got all the pieces laid out and cut. You can see that. They may need a little adjusting as we go, but I did lay the whole floor out, so hopefully it'll go well. With the ceiling and floor tiled, I'm going to do the back wall next. And I'm going to do a laser line along the bottom, and I will lay the second row first. Then I'll go back and lay the bottom row under that and match it to the contour of the floor. But the laser line will be perfectly straight and level. All right, I shimmed up my level straight edge so I can get that level in place to draw a straight line by myself on the floor. Got the electrical hooked up on the steam generator. The two load lines on the 220, the neutral line and the ground line. And I'll put the cover back on and get the plumbing hooked up. All right, the plumbing's done. Steam line's hooked up. The drain from the overflow pan and the unit are both hooked up to the drain. Got the pressure regulator, they say 15 to 20 pounds. Water inlet. And the controller wires hooked up. All right, I came in this morning and the pan was full of water. I guess what happened was this thing automatically purges and it comes out this drain line at the bottom of the unit. And I have the drain line going into the drain line for the pan, and the water took the path of least resistance and went into the pan instead of down the drain. So I've got to redesign this so this is lower than this. So I'll point this pipe down, point this pipe down, and then hook the drain up at a lower point. That should solve the problem. All right, I've got this drain pipe a good 3 inches lower coming out of the unit than the pan. And then it goes down into the drain in the wall, which goes to the shower. So let's see what happens now. All right, it just started draining and 100% of the water is coming out the drain. And none of it is backing up, back up the pipe and into the pan. So I'm pretty happy about that. All right, I got the granite installed and the tub shower surround. So I just laid the tile along the shower curb, both on the inside and out. And once that dries, I'll grout. Then I'll be able to put the baseboard in and a little piece of trim around the edge here, because it wasn't perfectly square. But unfortunately, the top has a scratch in it that you can't see from the front. But when you look at the side, it's got a pretty significant scratch in it. So I sent the installer a picture and they think they have to replace it, that it can't be buffed out. So even though I started plumbing the drain, well, we'll just have to redo it when the new sink's installed. All right, so next step is grout, baseboard, and trim. Then we call the glass guy in to put the glass in. Bathroom complete. Steam shower installed, passed inspection. We've got the glass installed. We've got the transom up here for the steam to escape when you're finished. Got the oversized exhaust fan. Got the granite countertop. Undermount sink installed. Got the steam generator underneath with the pressure gauge and the quick disconnect, 30 amp for this unit. And we've got the rain shower, which is the one I end up using all the time. It's just really good. We got the traditional shower head and the handheld here. And the control for the steam. Let's go ahead and turn that on. It's currently 73. It'll take a few minutes for the steam to come out. I'll come back when it does. And of course the teak bench, we have 2 of these. So we're all ready to go. We're waiting for the steam to warm up. I'll show you a few of the controls here. One is the timer. So in 27 minutes, and you can set it, I usually go for 20 minutes. And then the temperature defaults to 110, and you can go up or down on the temperature as well. Okay, the steam is starting to build up in here. And I am going to take advantage of it and enjoy it. I hope this video helped someone. It's a long one, but hopefully the details will help. And thanks for watching.